Hey everybody, welcome back to A Brief on Grief. So today I wanted to continue the discussions on the myths of dealing with grief. This one is an interesting one. It actually bewilders me a lot, this one. This one tells us to do, I think, the absolute opposite of what we should be. Ooh, don't like that word. I don't like should. What would be helpful for us to process the grief when we're struggling with a loss and having all those painful emotions that are involved in it. This myth tells us to be strong, buck up, and be strong for others. Now, having that idea in your head does not seem very validating for the painful feelings that you're going through. If you're thinking, I have to be strong for others, and that's the most important thing, unfortunately, we live in a society that tells us that very message, that it is more important to be strong and take care of others than it is to take care of ourselves. So when we're struggling with painful feelings, grief, we believe that our feelings don't matter and our needs don't matter as much as somebody else. And we learn I learned for sure through personal experiences and through this program, in that when we don't validate and allow our feelings to be there, and it doesn't allow them to move through our bodies properly, it doesn't allow us to process things properly, and they get stuck. And then they get stuck in there for years and years and start to affect our happiness. So this myth definitely I can't think of the word right now. Definitely affects how we deal with our grief, clearly, and contributes to trauma emotions and things getting stuck in our bodies. As do all these myths, of course, which is why I'm here telling you all about it, because it's so important to know about these unhelpful things that have been told to us for years and years about dealing with pain that do not help us, and so that we can become more aware and move beyond, to do something differently. It's better for us. So when I think of my examples in my life, first thing that pops into my head is when a couple years ago, when I was struggling with a lot of pain, and sores and things in my mouth, struggling a lot, not able to eat well for, oh my goodness, I don't even remember, the initial bout for several weeks. But I had in my head that I still had to stay strong because I had a job to go to where I was a caregiver and I had to take care of people that needed me. And how much I put that ahead of my own needs for many, many weeks, until I actually finally put a stop to that and took some time to myself to try to heal. But there's lots of actually examples popping into my head, but of course, to try to keep this not too long, I won't tell you all the examples. But another thing that I want to bring up, though, too, quickly, is that it makes me think of when I was grieving, how often I thought, wow, I'm so thankful that I'm just having to take care of myself and try to manage to get myself out of bed and feed myself and just deal with day-to-day life, when I was dealing with very, very deep grief. And that makes me think of parents out there that have to take care of kids. It makes me think of my mom, who left a marriage that was unhealthy and went through a divorce and had 2 kids to deal with. When did she have that time to grieve properly for herself? So this whole journey of learning about grief and loss has made me think of many different things in my life, but as well as has opened up my heart for compassion when I think of the different things that my parents went through. It also makes me think of my dad too, and to think of my dad in a soft way, which is amazing and healing in its own way. So in a society that tells us that we come below everybody else, especially for a parent, we come below our kids. I think we have to find a balance. It's not that we can always put ourselves first in every circumstance, but I think it's, as with anything, it's about striking a balance. So let's think of strength in a different way. Let's think of strength the way Brene Brown would talk about it. Strength, and to have courage to be vulnerable, to do something different than what we've always been taught is right, to do something different than what this world teaches us to do, to choose ourselves first, take care of ourselves when we absolutely need it the most. And here's a quote by Brene that talks about that concept. So in a society that says put yourself last, self-love and self-acceptance are almost revolutionary. So let's cause a revolution, everybody. Let's be vulnerable. Let's be courageous. Let's be courageous to be vulnerable and take care of ourselves when we absolutely need it. And to not believe that we come second best to everybody else. Okay, lots of love to you guys. See you next time.